Hello everyone, we are going to do reading on the case of Kevin Mullins, which is a judge, and Sheriff mickeystines. So if you're not familiar with this, Steins is charged, the sheriff, is charged with redrum after September 19th, 2024, shooting the district judge Kevin Mullins in his Letcher County chambers. In his chambers that he used for other stuff, I want to say. You might not all agree with what I have to say. This could be a long one. It might be split into two. It might be one that some of you like the longer ones, but if you like the shorter ones, please do stop, but come back. So this is the south of Kentucky, and the judge and the sheriff had, I believe, a fairly decent relationship. So what I gather is that the chambers and the courts have an underground tunnel to the jail. It's actually interesting how they've done that. And the reason I gather that is because when they arrested Sh&t, I'm going to call him Steins, they took him through some tunnel, and then he didn't want to go in the lift because he was so paranoid that they were going to do something to him. He wanted to go through a certain way, and he knew the way, and I think it was just further down from the chambers, and then there's an underground tunnel or a tunnel that leads into the jail area. There is a camera footage of the pew-pewing happening, and I believe there's alleged possibly Sh&t trafficking. But it's clear that there was abuse of power for a very long time. And what I get is that it's not the sheriff didn't know about it, but something was boiling with the sheriff. He was also worried about his own personal life. So if he had a daughter or females, he was worried about the judge and who is actively also doing these things. Getting to his family, because he never said to his family members that this is what the judge is up to in terms of manipulating women. So what I understand is he'd manipulate women to not, so that they wouldn't go into jail, or they'd take jail women out to have sex favors in which he'd give a lighter sentence or whatever. So the sheriff, what I get, was very worried about this for quite a long time, because this went on for years. This is disclaimer, my opinion, it's not the facts. So what I'm telling you now, after I said the county, I said what happened to the judge by Steins, 19th of September 2024. After that is what I'm saying. I get, although it's alleged, also what I said was alleged, it's already been said, that there could be some Sh&t, and now, like I'm saying, apparently they took, I don't know if this is going to be true, it's not true, that they took women out of the cells and favors and etc. You see in the video that Steins clearly asks the judge for his phone. Steins is going directly in there because the judge overcrossed his boundary. The Steins knew he was up to crap, and he was, it was getting to a boiling point because it was an injustice. Yeah, I think the judge was trying to also kind of lower down Steins in a way where Steins might have had something that could go against him, but it wasn't like he was doing any of this. You know what I mean? Just so that he would park down a little. Or what it was doing for Steins, it was like more or less, he was like simmering. And the judge crossed the boundary into a personal boundary of Steins. And it said that it could be his daughter or his wife. What I earlier heard very fast was that he was probably going through a divorce and the judge was speaking to both sides, so he had the number of the daughter and the wife, etc. I don't know if that's true, I don't know, but I do know that, in my opinion, Steins went in there. He did not do a premeditated murder. Premeditated as in he wasn't thinking about it for days. I believe he went in there and he confronted the judge. And the judge had an opportunity to actually get him to calm down. But the judge's response, again, my opinion, it's not out there yet, etc., actually rattled Steins even more, because the way was very confirming in terms of the way the judge always slithered out of things, and abuse of power and manipulation. So I've actually got it in my notes on the way I believe he responded. He responded like, do you know when, for example, a spouse confronts a spouse and the person is 100% convinced and seen something they've seen that their spouse is cheating on them, and the spouse is like, you're mad, you're crazy, and they're just like jokey off, and there's a bit of narcissism in there, but it's not like you're mad, you're crazy, just get out my way. It's not that kind of stuff. It's like, just calm down, come on, let's have a glass of wine, or a fag or a cigarette. What you're talking about, don't that wouldn't be the case, but it's in a winding up way when it's something that's extremely serious. And so it was condescending, and it was like, you don't be a fool to think this way, but a jokey, not taking it seriously. He likes a fag and he thinks that he can just slither away, and that rattled Steins even more. I do believe that if the judge said, yes, I did this or XYZ, that he would have got away. But I feel like the judge could have got away. Either there would have been a delay or he would have calmed him down should he had said some truths where he didn't actually do something that was out of line and responded in a manner that was not his thing, that he can always get away with crap. The only reason I'm kind of sad, and I don't know what's going to come up in the trial, but to me, from what I'm seeing, is I think, which I don't even know if this would have ever happened, because I feel like what they would have done is move the judge to another state, because he did have an opportunity, move the judge to another state to keep this under wraps. So I don't think there was in the future's vision a possibility of the judge getting life in prison and rotting in prison for this. So although that would have been the ideal outcome, the reason I say this, because a lot of people feel like if someone's taken a life of the person that's abused power, Sh&t, other stuff that we're going to see if the cards bring up, allowed people to live in trauma, in fear, controlled their lives, controlled their lives, possibly manipulated in terms of, you won't see your loved ones, I'll take your loved ones, or allow the court to say that you're not fit, or something like this, for those that are already in jail. And so feeling they have no way out of a situation. Now, I get that about 5-7 years ago, there was a kind of a leak. So, you know, when these things go on, or this is how I'm seeing it, there was individuals all over just like thinking they're experiencing this alone. Then they started seeing that actually that looks a bit fishy. I wonder if he's doing that to her too. And that started happening. That started leaking. And I want to say from a year before his passing, things were getting really, really bad. And I do get that. For now, I also got, I feel like the letters J and W, especially W, maybe a local journalist, a local newspaper. I don't know if they are covering it now or they were getting close to something on it. And so with Stein, that's just separate. But with Steins, I don't think his family would have understood why he was also outraged beyond just like, you've crossed your line here, I'm going to report you, etc. And I think one has to put themselves in that position. So let's get into this reading, because I don't want to keep channeling what I believe I've got. I think, you know, this case seems very cut and dry for the prosecutors to the jury, because there's a video, which I hope the defense don't go for insanity. I hope there's something that can have a lower sentence where things get dug up. There is a woman that I believe she knows everything. She knows the dark secrets of the judge in that working place. And I wish she would come forward and speak for Steins. And I wish people that knew stuff would actually come forward in defense and speak for Steins. I think, you know, given that I can't even see that he was going to do any jail time if this doesn't come up, if he's destined to not go this way, and that he was going to get silently, everyone in the town kind of, it would bubble out. But before it bubbles out, he's moved state with a condition or a caveat or something that, you know, but it was not going to come to justice. That's disgusting. And there was other people involved. Not that he wasn't the leader. Well, there's other people involved. But Steins was well known to the judge. I understand Steins was well liked. And so on the surface level, it looks like it's cut and dry. But there is rumours that he had his daughters, the judge had Stein's daughter, and maybe this daughter's phone number on his phone, and that's why there was that whole thing. When the sheriff was arrested, he was very paranoid with the cops. He was like, what are you going to do to me? You're going to do this and you're going to do that. And that wasn't insanity. That's because he's seen the injustice of what they would do. That's also why he wanted to go, not in an elevator. What I feel like, he wanted to go through a way where there's cameras definitely on. Because I can guarantee you that chamber camera that doesn't have the voice recording was not on all days of the year and all the times. That was manipulated, because that judge also, in my opinion, had favors done right in that table, right on that chambers. And I also believe that there is a video recording with someone that he would be with on a regular basis, not necessarily in the chambers though. outside, in an outside place. So will they look into that video? Was it on recording for the whole year? Will they check 26th, 27th on the dates and then the times? I think defense need to request that, because it was man switched off, man switched on. Not only do I get that there was sex acts, it was also acts like, if you don't want your ankle monitor as an added sentencing, we can do it this way. If you don't want the heavier sentence, we need to do this way. And at first it feels like a get out way for these girls, and someone cares, or these women, and someone actually cares about them. Someone's doing, you know, it looks like it's care. But then if there wasn't availability of others, it was a reoccurring thing, and it was, you know, being trapped. There is others involved. There is others that I think there might have been someone that's come up, either had possibly sex acts or something, injustice filed against, I want to say him, so I'm going to say him. There was something about a former inmate who did say the judge forced himself on her in order to stop or exchange of being out of jail, and she filed a lawsuit. But I'm not sure if I've got this right, because for some reason Spirit is telling me the person that I'm seeing has something filed against them is this person, but so I think there's another person that's been caught for acts, and I'm not sure that they have had full justice that they should have had, but it was too late for Judge Mullins to save this person. Something about the Steins not wanting to implicate more or say more on something that he was questioned, nothing to do with this. So I don't know if he's got something against him, but he didn't want to say more because he knew it was going to go to the top, and implicate more people and the judge at the time, and expose this kind of stuff where whatever sheriff was actually questioned, or maybe he would face, whether, like, let's say, just to get your minds off the kind of thing that I'm thinking, it wasn't driving under the influence, but let's say, like, it's something like that basically. He didn't want to say anything else because it was such a tricky situation that it would get all of them involved, and so I do think there is a recording from Mullins with someone in the after hours, and probably other people as well. There might have been a female worker or sheriff that transported or aided taking back, or the inmates that would be taken out of jail. This is so corrupt, isn't it? So inmates taken out of jail for this purpose and then brought back. I see one of my questions was going to be about 18-year-olds and under, and I just kind of see something. There is a toing and froing, so there is that traffic kind of thing, like exchanging. And here there's like, in just which I was going to get to, I believe the judge made money off this as well. Like he made some passive income. Money was made out of this. Just going back to the facts, the CEO, so is that the county officer, forced inmates to strip down while they watched. That's insane. I don't know about this female sheriff or worker that I get might have transported. This is different than the person. Is it different than the person that I said knew everything? Let's pull cards on the judge. And then after that, on the next one, I might pull cards on the sheriff and the other things that I want to cover, because I think this is going to be quite a bit. I don't know why I'm getting Sagittarius energy for Steins, okay? I'll check his birthday, but I'm getting Sagittarius energy for Steins. This is for the judge, but Steins is 10 up. He would come across, the judge, I'm getting the word melancholy. He was very deceitful and lied. Abuse of power and manipulation and money. And run the whole thing. And I don't know why I get, this is Steins that he lied to. And even though he knew Steins very well, like I said, there was a lot of this contentiousness in energy. And for the last 7 years, things were like I said, one person was starting to pick up on, I'm not the only one. And slowly, it was kind of like he needs to go. This judge was never going to go a natural way. If it was, and what I mean by that, someone else was going to do something. And if it wasn't Steins, it would have been someone else. But no one had the balls to face or confront. And I don't want to say anything else for anyone to take it wrong. And a lot of people was like, he needs to go, but how? He's running the whole thing. The court, the jail underground, and inmates coming in and coming out, and lighter sentences, and threats and manipulation. And not over like 1 month or two, and possibly Sh&t to others. So it was kind of like a whole thing and a whole palaver, not just something small. And how is he still here on the shenanigans and there's no audit or higher than the judge that should audit actually looking into any of this? So how will he be brought to justice? it just seemed quite impossible, although there was people that was like, he needs to go. And I think if it wouldn't have been Steins, what I see is one of his victims, and either they speak to someone rough on the streets, someone that is willing to do this kind of stuff, or gets in a relationship with someone that's willing to do this kind of stuff. Like he crosses the boundary and someone speaks to someone that goes ahead and does this. It's like it was his time. Obviously we know it's his time, but it was coming, and it was like he'd done it to himself, because there was an opportunity for him, with a caveat, to move, I think state or move, it had to be like out of state, and I wonder if it was to move or drop down, and for him to stop, and he thought about it, and then it became like an addiction. And it was kind of like his abuse of power. He ruled it all. So if he moved, he would seriously need to stop. And that move, that of the opportunity that is there for him, is not the one that I said that they would have offered him if all this came out. This is different. This was when he thought at one stage he was getting a bit concerned and paranoia at some stage. Is it on the bottom that I saw the Nine of Swords when I got the first cards out before these at the bottom, and I was thinking that's his paranoia at some stage. And seems like no one had any balls to say anything. And he was getting money as well. He was making money. Get a Queen of Wands in a bit of a challenging situation. So the jealousy, envy, and I wonder if his domestic life was starting to crumble in a way. There was signs coming after years. There was definitely this is him trying to put up a defense at one stage and wondering whether to walk away. Cards just confirm what I said. Yet he held so much power and he wanted to continue. And there's not only him in this. It's like the people that were involved, there was some that were actively involved, there was some that were involved because they were liking what they were getting out of it. And there was some that were involved that just got involved, and then there was a lot of manipulation, and they were just liking what they got out of it. But at the same time, it's like, do you know when you go out, you have a drink, and the next day you're like, I'm not doing that again. And then you go out, and then you're like, I'm going to do it again. And then you're a constant fight. And then there's those that actually enjoyed the horrible abuse, manipulation, and all the control that they were getting underneath. It was like rotten souls. It's gross. I'm going to pull cards. I feel like he got a serious warning from someone to stop, but he didn't take it. Like, I'm not talking necessarily about Steins. I'm talking, he got a serious warning that he needs to stop what he's doing. And I'm not convinced this person knew the brutality, I want to say brutality, of everything that was happening. Surely they can track money that was being made out of this. There is money being made. So it's not only like sleep with me and you'll get your ankle monitor off, or instead of 10 years I'll give you 2, and then we just go to a hearing date and you've been a good girl, so you can get off for 2 or whatever it is, and then when you're off we'll get rid of your ankle monitor, you can come and see me or whatever. Yeah, look at this, 9 of Wands in reverse. He fluctuated the person he was. 9 of Cups in reverse. And 6 of Wands, he was recognized. But then, like I said, there was a time when things was changing, and I don't know what his marriage situation is, but I do get something around his domestic life coming into a bit of a, I wonder if he was confronted, something there. There is this woman that knows quite a lot, but she's kept quiet, and she's like, just go to work, do my thing, and I'll leave, get paid and go home. Yeah. Was there anyone on 18 or under involved? Yes. So to me, that is a child. I get a confirmation straight away. I changed the deck. I was using this one, but it seems like this deck wants to tell me the story as opposed to give me straight away a confirmation, apart from when I asked about, which one was it? I got the Emperor and the 10 of Cups. We got straight out confirmation. The rest is like tell a story. This one's just given me, so I changed and we got the, what did we just get? We got the World, which confirmed what I just wanted to actually ask. 18 and unders, was there any of that involved, or in the least one? And yes, because there's also single females that are vulnerable, that felt like he would take care of them when he said this, and then slowly he breaks what he wants to them. And there could be stuff like, I'll get you a roof over your head, or put you in a shelter, or you'll get to see your kids. Like, I can help save you, I can help you. I struggle with sympathy for this situation, because so many lives would have been implicated, affected, but at the same time you can't just go for a vigilante kind of execution, and the justice system has to like put justice in place for that. But like, you're impacting people's lives and causing them trauma that changes them forever through these things. You change people's lives. And people think that if you're alive and breathing, or if you're in a cell and breathing, it's better than being not alive. But there's a thing about being alive and living. Like, how many of you have been through depression, and it's kind of like, you're not living, you're just breathing, living. It's not life really, is it? I certainly have been there, and I don't think that's life, right? I don't think it's life. We have to go through that phase and try and find the simple stuff. But it also comes down to something my mum said when I recently, a few months ago, had to put one of our dogs down that was old, and don't get me started on vets, because I don't know what kind of stuff they study for all they do. And my mum said, isn't it strange how we can choose the quality of life for our pets, because the vet was talking about quality of life, yet we can't do that for ourselves. And I could understand where she's coming through, and I agree with her, especially when you get into the elderly. But I think it would be abused, you know. But like, so you're impacting people's lives forever, and some of these people could have wanted to unsubscribe because they see no way out, just like everyone was not doing anything about it. And I can see that it would have been masked and he would have been moved state with no time to serve. Because they would have said, even if one female came forward and spoke, would have been, oh, it's her who went to jail, it's her who maybe did this, her who was a her who was a druggie. Yes. Did he use power as a world card? And we get the Empress as well. That's a double confirmation for me. And we get women. Although I'm not saying that he only abused his power on women. I think he did it in every direction that he wanted something. So whether it be like a colleague, like, get me this, get me that, and you can have one of these girls tonight, or something like that. I asked Spirit to confirm, but while I'm asking Spirit to confirm, it was like, don't take this card, take the next one. And then it was like, tell the story. So the story is, to silence people, they were being paid off. This was not just a one-time or a quick span, short period of time. And the Six of Swords. What people ended up doing when they could get out of it, which they couldn't always, was to try and move on, maybe move a city, or just try and move on from the situation. But there's two people that were still very, very present that I think are going to speak up. There's four that are quiet and kind of like, I just want to keep moving in the direction that I've moved and keep this to bed. Oh, I'm asking the wrong question. I'm like, was there any ST in this case? But it's not in this case. It's did the judge do any ST? Okay. Thank you. Money, so much money involved. And we get a yes finally. There's a female that knows the truth about those that are involved, that are, including the judge, around the monies and the exchanging that was happening. And there's our confirmation. I feel like there was a businessman involved. Was it just women? No, there was underage. And there's something hidden. And it's interesting this comes out because I was starting to feel like Spirit wanted to keep stuff under wraps. And it was like asking the next session that you do, which I'm going to cover sheriff and a couple of other stuff that I want to cover on this. But it was kind of like, look at this, feasting once you get your wish fulfillment. And so much more is hidden, especially around this underage person. Now, is this Zain's daughter? Or is it those that are 18 and under? I think I also need to ask the Sh&t question. Okay, so I took down a notch of the Sh&t because I feel like some people might think like it was Sh&t trafficking on a large thing like underground tunnels and selling and going from this state to that state, international, like a larger thing. And I definitely get there was Sh&t, but not such on a large scale, like more possibly between themselves and whoever wanted that was within that state, within their kind of thing. It was more of like exchanging, but it comes under the meaning of Sh&t. I've got it here. We've got the confirmation. And we get this card again of like moving, like, you know, take this person one night, you can have it another night or whatever. So if you enjoyed this, please do let me know. And look out for the next one. It's interesting. It's already like 44 plus minutes. And I forgot how late in the evening this is actually. Thinking I'm like in the afternoon getting into this. Totally forgot the time. And in the next one I've got more to cover. So I'm recording this, and a couple of days ago I recorded predictions for the 20th September onwards, which I think we're going to start to see trickles playing out. So do catch that. You will see that scheduled. I don't know if you would have... I recorded it a couple of days. I don't know if you're going to see it. You would have seen it by the time this is scheduled. But basically, yeah, whatever I'm trying to say. Are you interested in watching this trial? What are your thoughts? And I think there's a lot more to come. Something triggered Sh&t's, and he did not think about doing this over a few days. It would have been within a 2-hour period. And even when he stepped into that office, I want to cover this when we're doing his part. Otherwise, I'm going to make this really long. So take care. See you in the next one. Bye for now.